Good morning and welcome to the Wake Up Well for January the 28th. We're coming into land at the end of this wonderful passage in Isaiah chapter 61, where the prophet has exclaimed his wonderful words to the poor, the brokenhearted, and the captives, that they will be rescued and that they will be part of building up the new cities. And at the end of that passage, you get to these wonderful couple of celebratory verses where prophet exclaims, "I delight greatly in the Lord. My soul rejoices in my God, for he has clothed me with garments of salvation and arrayed me in a robe of his righteousness." And it's like a bridegroom who adorns his head like a priest and has a bride adorning herself with jewels. The final verse, for as the soil makes the sprouts come up and the garden causes seeds to grow, so the sovereign Lord will make righteousness, that word righteousness again, and praise spring up before all nations. I think to myself, what would it look like to be wearing garments of salvation? What would it be like to have robes of righteousness? What does that look like? Which made me think about the local weather we've been having. I mean, it's been pretty crazy, hasn't it? We've had sunshine, it's been freezing cold, fog and snow. And I think of that popularised statement which Billy Connolly made, that there's no such thing as bad weather, just inappropriate clothing. And that's been really put to the test, hasn't it, at the moment, the past couple of weeks? We've had to pull out all our winter wear and our ski wear to survive outside. There's no such thing as bad weather, just inappropriate clothing. Which made me think, well, what would be appropriate? I mean, back to this idea of righteousness and salvation as appropriate clothing. Which made me think of another story of appropriate clothing. When I used to be a dentist in the Navy. Now, my job used to be to go out sometimes onto the small ships in the English Channel, and I'd be working there doing checkups. And then you'd hear this squawk over the tannoy saying, "Oh, dentist to starboard gangways, dentist to starboard gangway." Oh, here we go. And off I'd make my way, and you could hear the massive engines of the ship starting to close down and slow up. And people were grinning at me. Because one of their fun games was to throw the dentist overboard. Um, this was to practice their man overboard drill. And I'd get on deck and I'd be in my normal clothes, a bit like this. And they would present me with this big onesie, this plastic noddy suit they called it. It was bright orange, and you stepped inside it, and there's the big zip and Velcro at the front, and there's seals around the wrist and around your face, and you looked like a massive Teletubby. And then they would just lob you into the English Channel, and off they would go. I mean, weird experience of what? I mean, talk about feeling small and insignificant in a huge body of water just floating around with the swell comes up and down very quickly. You lose the horizon. You've got no idea where they are, and you're bobbing around feeling like a speck in the ocean. They would then turn around, pull me back out, and 20 minutes later, I'd be dry as a bone, back in my sick bay, hands a bit cold, face buzzing slightly. Quite the experience. I was able to do that because I had the right clothing. That noddy suit was exactly what was required to be appropriate to survive the bad weather and the potentially lethal waters of the English Channel. Which made me think it's just about this appropriate clothing, isn't it? And the idea that actually, when I was in the water bobbing up and down, I had salvation and righteousness in my mind, in the sense that righteousness is an Old Testament, very rich word, and it means the character of God, which means that he's just and does the right thing, and also that he will keep on his promises. And so, bobbing up and down there, I was safe and sound and dry. I knew that the process had to be done to practice emergency drills. And I was assured of salvation, that I would be rescued, that they would turn around and come back and pick me up. And so I could survive the outside elements in the assurance of the clothing which was appropriate, which was a righteousness and a salvation. And I was able to go through that experience for the richness of it. So my thought for you today is that when you get up this morning and you put your joggy bottoms on because you're not going to work because you're working from home or homeschooling or whatever it is you are, that you would put on the clothes of righteousness and the clothes of salvation, which would be appropriate for any weather. It might be that you can feel the engines closing down in your family and they're all grinning at you because they're in for a nightmare day and they're going to throw you overboard. And a noddy suit is absolutely what you need. It might be that you've got a day where actually you can put jewels on and beautify and just enjoy the celebration of relationships like a bride and groom. Whatever it is, today, make sure that you are assured that you are clothed in righteousness, of being the character of God, and that you are rescued and that you are loved, and that this would take you through the day into the next. So, Godspeed and my blessings on you.